Cool. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Nerd Alert Anime Day, where we are talking about all things anime and manga for National Anime Day. I'm Kassidy. I'll be hosting this, and I have with me Sam, Stefan, and Andrew. Why don't we introduce ourselves?
I'm Andrew.
There we
I'm
go.
Sam.
I'm Stefan.
All right, cool, awesome. So today we are actually going to be giving away towards the end of the show the Ultraman version 7 6 scale by 3-0. I have it with me right here. I'm going to take a quick second to show it off.
You can't
Taking
see it
out my here we go. You really can't see it with the background, so I have to take down my Sailor Moon background for a moment.
Nice.
But here it is right here. It's with me in the hardened armor flesh. So if you're an Ultraman fan or if you're barely familiar with it, this is a really cool figure to take home. It's from the Netflix original anime. Some other cool things we got going on. We have giveaways going on all next week with our 4 p.m. live shows. So you might want to check that out. You can follow Collectible or Collect Sideshow on Twitter or Sideshow Collectibles on Instagram. Check out that schedule. And we're going to be live everywhere. So it's really hard to miss us. We're live on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, the Let Your Geek Sideshow Facebook group, which is a super cool community, by the way, with a super exclusive giveaway for the Iron Man Mark 50 going on right now. So if you want to join that real fast, but don't leave, please. And also on our social channel right now, we have another giveaway, a Dragon Ball Z giveaway featuring the Super Saiyan Trunks figure by Bandai.
Cyan?
Correct me. I need
Nice.
it.
Super Saiyan.
Is that it? Super Saiyan.
No, Super Saiyan.
Super Saiyan. All right.
No,
Anyways, we'll just
Super
move
Saiyan
on
Trunks?
for a moment. But yeah, and that's going on till tonight. So you might want to check that out. We have other giveaways like our Pose of the Day challenge starting on Friday. We got another one and some Stay Inside Show home staff recommendations content on there. So super cool stuff. So many giveaways. You might want to check it out.
Guys,
And-
Justin Bua is watching on Instagram Live right now.
Oh,
Justin Bua gave us a little wave.
Hi, Justin Boo. What's up?
How's it going? What's up?
Sorry, I was very excited about that.
We're just here
huge
mispronouncing
Justin Bua fan.
Saiyan as Cyan, but it's
Yeah,
all right.
Just saying.
we totally are.
Yeah, just
Can you tell I
say,
actually never
oh.
watched? Just saying, yeah. I never watched Dragon Ball Z. That's
That's
a
okay.
perfect
Did you at least watch
segue.
Dragon Ball?
Do I have to watch A through Z to understand?
No.
Dragon Ball was only on when I was younger if I was homesick. So like I had this association with like Dragon Ball Z, any sort of Dragon Ball, and being sick. So like I couldn't watch it when I was younger. So I'm like trying to get back into it slowly now.
Are you gonna feel sick if you do that?
I'm concerned that I might, but on the other hand, there's this really cool fighting game. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a really cool recent Dragon Ball game that came out, and it's super cool.
Fighter Z. Is that the
Fighter
one?
Z?
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No,
Cassidy.
you're
you're
fine. No, yeah, this whole thing is just for us to like kind of gush and like nerd out about anime. Like that's why we're here. So I mean, I feel like I would just start the conversation with a few questions. During quarantine right now, what are you guys reading or watching? I know I've been watching and now reading My Hero Academia. I just finished season 4 and I was so upset that season 5 is not ready. So I'm now reading the manga. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Spoilers,
I promise.
I'm just about to start season 4.
Oh my gosh,
it's
it's so good. Anyone in the comments, please, if you're with me, like, let's talk about it, man. It was so good. What about you guys?
For me, I'm reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 with Jolene. And then while I was out in Japan in February, I picked up a couple copies of, I wonder if you can even see it, Yotsuba in Japanese. So I'm kind of like practicing very basic Japanese with that.
Nice.
Like where I'm just trying to like read it and see if I can't understand it through context and everything like that. So
what's Yotsuba about?
It's about a man. It's not her father. It's a man and her. She's like his adopted daughter, quote unquote. It's just kind of about them and their life living in Japan, doing all sorts of like very like small home life type of things. It's a slice of life.
Oh, it's a slice of life.
Slice of
Okay,
life.
very
There
cool.
we go.
Love
and
those.
It's a kid's book, and it's as close to a kid's book as you're going to get with a manga. And a lot of people have recommended it to me because they're like, this is a really good resource if you're wanting to learn Japanese to practice it, because it's very basic. And they have something called furigana, which is the actual hiragana right next to the kanji to kind of help you pronounce it and read or kind of learn which character like sounds like what, if that makes sense. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
Nice.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Stefan, what about you?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, I'm not reading anything particularly interesting right now. Really, I'm actually trying to do homeschooling with one of my kids. So I'm learning about grade 6 math right now. That's what I'm reading.
Oh, dude, that's one of those really intense animes, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's super lackluster, no action, all dialogue,
all slice of life.
Very cool.
But I mean, in terms of quarantine, I've been spending a little bit of time trying to get into Ultraman. Actually.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
the Netflix anime or like the originals?
The Netflix anime. I've got a couple of originals. I was watching Voltron, the original, I think from the 80s.
Oh.
I have the DVD box set. So I was watching that for a while, and then I just switched over to Ultraman a couple of days ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big T toyography. I can't say this word.
Probably.
Big T Toyography on Instagram is watching One Piece and Akame ga Kill.
Nice.
Akame ga Kill's good.
And Joshua in Life on Instagram is saying that he's waiting for Attack on Titan. We all are. Attack on Titan,
we all are.
Absolute masterpiece. That's got to be one.
Most of us are. Not all of us.
Have you not watched it, Kassidy?
No, I have watched Attack on Titan. I honestly,
you can't handle the super violence.
No, it's not the violence. It's just there's something about like just the graphics. Maybe if I read the manga, it'd be a little bit different. But there's something about the graphics that just like really grosses me out, makes me a little nauseous.
Okay.
So
it's
like
grotesque. Yeah.
Yes, it's a little grotesque, which is like kind of the appeal of it for some people. But just myself, if there's anyone else who has that problem, then just know that you're not alone. But I'm happy for you guys. I really respect that journey for you, you know?
Official Christopher Abeda on Instagram says, how do y'all feel about Evangelion 1.3 plus 3.0 coming out soon? Have you guys watched Evangelion?
Evangelion?
I have not.
Even peanut butter and jelly on, yeah.
Cyan.
Cyan,
I have.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite series. Yeah.
It's actually such a good series.
So how do you feel about it?
If it coming out, I'm not gonna hold my breath because it was supposed to come out like 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. So when it's out, then you can ask me that same question. That's my answer.
That's fair.
I mean, I am not super caught up in like what is new with that anime. Like I know I'm familiar with the games and everything, but it's been a while since I watched it. But like, I mean, I just so much about it that it's like so trippy and cool.
So the rebuild, I don't know if you want to chime in on this too, Stefan. Just the rebuilds are like they're movie versions of what the original show was, except halfway through the movie, the rebuilds, aka the movies, have now branched off into their own storyline with like different characters and stuff like that. So it's technically a new show. It's just very much like it's like a remake essentially. So
is it kind of like the end of Neon Genesis Evangelion, where it like almost has like a different ending? It's like a different story or like a different timeline or something, or
a different timeline is probably a better way to summarize it, I would say. Yeah.
Well, if you haven't watched that anime, it's really good.
Interesting. I'll have to do that myself.
Yeah.
On Facebook, Christian Fajardo says Black Clover is a must watch. There we go. And he also says Demon Slayer Kimetsu also is another must.
I've been meaning to watch that one. That's honestly next on my list.
I would say if you're into Demon Slayer, Baki is probably right up your alley too.
Ooh,
Baki's really good.
Baki's real good.
Javier Gallegos on Facebook says his favorite anime is Saint Seiya and Inuyasha. I love Inuyasha, man. That was such a good series. So nostalgic. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah. I feel like, at least now, I felt like a lot of people talked about Saint Seiya for a little bit a couple years ago for some reason, but like nowadays I don't hear about it as much.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Anime just goes through like these weird, you can see it in conventions too. If you go to anime conventions, you'll see the fads, you'll see the trends like in real time. All you have to do is just look out and see who's cosplaying what. Like right now it's all Boku no Hero Academia. So
yes it is.
It's so good.
Which is very good. What do you think has endured the longest? That's an interesting perspective. Out of what you've seen,
I would
at least
say as a series, probably Ava. No, probably. I would say it's a tie between Ava and Gundam. But Gundam, you can't really pinpoint any one particular series. A lot of like, I'm not trying to like insult Gundam or anything like that, but it's like each series is like very different from the one preceding it and the one after. So it's like kind of hard to pinpoint, being like, oh yeah, that Gundam, that's the best one. Because there are people that like Gundam Wing. There are people that like War in the Pocket. There are people that like, list goes on. But I would say Ava's probably withstood the test of time to some extent. That's probably a super controversial opinion to have. But I would say Akira is probably the most prolific. But that's not technically a series; it's a movie. So,
Gundam Wing is my favorite. I have to say, I'm biased because that's what was actively on TV when I was a kid. So I have a deep love and affinity for Gundam Wing.
Yeah, that was the first one I watched. But then I watched 0080 War in the Pocket, and that's absolutely my favorite one, just because it's so different. But yeah.
So on our Instagram, I lost it. Here it is. Griff1319 is asking all of you guys, have any of you watched Giant Robo?
Giant Robo? No.
I haven't.
I've never even heard of Giant Robo.
That's the thing with anime fans. Every single one of us has a gigantic backlog of stuff we need to watch.
There's so much stuff out there. We all have like one or two things that we'll rewatch all the time, no matter what, and we'll sometimes be ahead of that backlog too. So that makes it a little hard, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to choose.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. The thing in the background right now actually just disappeared. Steins Gate. That's one thing that I'm starting to rewatch right now. So
yeah,
I am currently watching Steins Gate, and I struggle with it.
What episode? Sorry, what episode are you on?
I've just gotten to the point where I like can genuinely say that I like it. But the first 10 episodes, I was like cringing out of my skin. Because the main character is like
such a dork.
That is just the nicest way to put it. That is the nicest way for you to put it.
In a lot of anime.
I could not, I was watching it with a friend, and the only reason I'm still watching it is because she's like super into it, and I'm like, I will try for you. I will try.
Keep watching
but
it.
I hate
watching it. That was my perspective on like the first 4 episodes. I'm like, why is this so popular? I kept watching it, and around like episode 10, 11, 12, I had to watch the rest of it in like one sitting, because it like suddenly the tone shifts and everything gets super serious, and I'm like, I have to see how this ends.
It is a major tone shift, and it fixes everything. Like the character becomes a character as opposed to just this uncomfortable plot tool. I don't know. I just I couldn't
burn.
It hurt me to watch. I was like, how can we be following this guy?
Yeah.
On our Facebook stream, I have Jazz Edwards that was making a comment saying that she just finished watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So divisive question. The original series or Brotherhood, what's the preference?
I didn't even watch the original. I just went straight to Brotherhood.
Holy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to go controversial, I'll tell you the truth. Because
taking the gloves off.
Oh, I'm going for it, because I heard that the original, like it didn't it flipped and it tumbled, but it didn't stick the landing. and that's all that matters to me. Like, I will hate something forever if it has a bad ending, and I will never rewatch it again. So I needed the good ending because I'm such a, I don't know.
Feel that sometimes you
yeah.
have to like preserve your own interests when you're like deciding what you want to watch. If you have like a big list of what you're watching, you know. I have not watched either of the Full Metal Alchemist shows. That's also on my backlog, but I'm actually really interested like in what everyone thinks, like what I should watch. What do you guys think?
Ooh.
Steins Gate for sure.
Oh,
Serial Experiments, Serial Experiments Lane, if you haven't. Hellsing Ultimate, if you haven't.
Johnny CL.
Man.
Johnny CL on Instagram is definitely an advocate for Code Geass.
Oh,
Code Geass is great. Yeah.
I love Code
That's actually
Geass,
wasn't that the one you and I were talking about, Kassidy?
Yes, it was. Yeah. I followed that because this is gonna bring up another question too. Before I get to Code Geass and why I like it and how I got into it, I need this answer, and no shaming, although I know it's inevitable and it's gonna happen.
Okay.
What do we like,
right.
dub or sub? Let's hear it.
Let's hear it. Sub.
Dub.
Sorry.
Dub.
Doesn't help. It doesn't help.
Oh my god.
Trying to get more people.
Who says things like that?
Definitely answer in the comments, guys. Like, tell us what you prefer, sub or dub.
Are you on my side? Are you like me and you like to do like, I don't know, things while you're watching TV, like laundry, and you don't think that's a crime? That being said, there are some things where like I will watch the sub because like the translation, you know, sometimes it's better. There are censor stuff. Like if I'm watching Sailor Moon, like I will watch the sub because it's just funnier, fun cut, and just has more stuff. But at the same time too, like, I don't know, I really enjoy dub sometimes, especially when it does have good voice acting.
Isaac Kemick is on your side. He says, I like dub, hate sub, can't watch because I'm reading. So that's a strong opinion right there.
Okay.
I'm like 60-40 sub because I like to think that my Japanese is really good. You know, but it's not. It's really not. I think there's just the aspect of watching it in its original form, how it was created. There's an appeal to it, and that's why I prefer the sub. So
I know too. I'm super biased just because half of the stuff I watch has yet to or ever will be localized. So the only thing you can really rely on is subtitles, sometimes put by people who are just fans of the show, who are like, here, watch this show, and also here's some subtitles for you. So that's why I do it. I do appreciate the effort of the dubbing like industry though. I appreciated it. I started appreciating it a lot more after I went to a panel at a convention hosted by Taliesin Jaffe himself, where he explained, because I think he still is an ADR voice director. He explained his process of transcribing a Japanese script to an English script and kind of trying to hit those same marks. He's like, your Japanese script is like a bullseye. The English script is the dart. Like your job is to hit as close to the center of that dartboard as you can. You can't always hit the center because a lot of things won't translate very well. So, you know, again, your job is just to kind of hit as close to the center as possible, which, you know, a lot of people tend to give dubs a lot of hate because it's like, oh, you know, like this joke doesn't translate or this whole scenario doesn't make any sense or this plot line doesn't, because it's like, oh, the dubbing failed and all that stuff. And it's like, I mean, they're doing the best that they can. They're professionals. So
yeah, and it's like when it turns out good, especially because the turnover rate for like ADR and dubbing can be really fast, like especially for series that are trying to release the dub alongside the sub. You know, like when they do a good job, like I also have a lot of respect for that too, you know, and it's good job security for people who are in that industry to always be making dubs. So, I mean, if you enjoy it in any way, I think it's worth watching. But then also at the same time, you can't take away from the fact that like there is something special about the original cut, you know, like I've been watching, as I mentioned before, My Hero Academia. And one example that I noticed was, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a character who... there is a character who his hero name is Deku, And like, you know, they try to play it off in an English way, like, you know, the story is like, oh, like the person who called him that when he was a kid just said, we call a person who's a loser or something deku, when really it's like the translation in Japanese is like, that's really what it means. Like it means like someone who fails or someone who's useless. And like it's interesting to see them try to like put it in context every time. Like one time, like a character had a reaction of like, oh, deku, that's weird, because obviously in Japanese that's a weird name, right? But then in English, what they did was, oh, deku, like deck, that's weird. It's like, you know, they're just something, they have only so much to work with, you know.
That's a really interesting challenge. I think that would be
yeah,
really unique industry to have to be to get to be a part of.
Yeah.
Really. You said you know some Japanese, Stefan?
Not very much. I had a peer of mine that that was from Japan, and we worked together for many years. And part of our daily routine was I would teach her a little bit of French, and she in turn would teach me a few Japanese you know, sentences, all appropriate. You know, it was all appropriate, but it was interesting. It was a good way to break up the day and to have something to look forward to going into the office. So we did that for about 6 or 7 months. But she certainly helped, you know, encourage me to continue to watch things that were subbed, and she was very much into anime herself. So it made for some really interesting conversation and a better connection between the two of us. So
yeah.
Cool.
How did you guys get into anime? That being said, now that we've talked about, like, you know, you talked about your origin with it a little bit. I know for myself, like I had a Vietnamese friend when I was younger, and I would just go over to her house all the time, and we'd always watch, you know, one thing or another. And she showed me Code Geass, which is interesting that was like one of the first ones that got me in. And then I started watching other ones on my own. I started with Bleach because I really liked the voice of Johnny Young Bosch, and just so on and so forth, you know. So for me, it was like a friend, but I think it's different for everyone, you know. What about you guys?
Well, I know for me, when I was about 10 or 11 years old, I started watching Dragon Ball Z a bunch. I feel like that was probably just my first one in general. So it was like me and my friend, we were watching Dragon Ball Z a bunch, and he would blow my mind because he would always, like, I guess GT was airing in Japan at the time. So he would always like show me pictures of like or like screenshots from GT and all that stuff, or like some of these bootleg toys of characters. I'm like, that's not real. That's not in Dragon Ball Z. You're lying. GT's a lie. And then come to find out later on, oh yeah, GT was a thing. Blah blah blah. And but yeah, it went from like Dragon Ball Z to Outlaw Star, Gundam Wing, Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, a lot of like the boy stuff, I would say. And then I think it's funny, I remember watching episodes of Inuyasha and Trigun with my mom on Adult Swim when we were like, I was like 13 or something like that.
That's too great.
Those were like my brother's like first shows, and my mom really loved Trigun because she loved Johnny Young Bosch.
Oh my gosh, we all love him. Or I can't help it.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, for myself, so growing up, my parents like to punish me. They gave me mangas of the original Dragon Ball, but they were in French. So we always had this very funny compromise where if there were things that I was interested in, it had to be in French because they wanted to make sure that I was able to be bilingual. So, you know, after reading the mangas, I think I was maybe like 4 or 5 issues in. The original series was still airing on TV. So then, you know, I got a VHS, started watching that, and then Dragon Ball Z rolled in, and then I started to kind of branch out a little bit. Bleach, you know, I've watched that I think 4 times in its entirety, 300,
which is incredible, by the way. It's no joke.
That is
of a
respect.
Show.
So it was a big commitment, but honestly, it's very much the same idea as a comic book for me. Like anime is just an opportunity to kind of get attached to different characters, watch different story arcs, try to find the opportunity to connect, to find certain resemblances and ultimately try to identify with different characters. And I think with all the things that, you know, whether it's dubbed or subbed, you know, I think you find common interests. Like it's all over the place for me, from Attack on Titan to Berserk to watching, you know, Sailor Moon growing up with my sisters as well. I don't so much have an affinity to one versus the other. It's more so just the entertainment of anime in general.
Yeah, I agree. And they, you know, because it's like a cartoon, I think they have room to like really focus in on some messages, you know, and like make it pretty emotionally intelligent if they want to. Like I started watching Naruto this past year as like a 23-year-old, you know, adult woman, and I was like, I'm so surprised by how like, again, emotionally intelligent this feels, you know, and how I like find myself identifying with these characters. So I agree, it's a good chance for like connection and just good storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely.
My anime origin is my freshman year of college. I came home after work, probably around like 9 every night. I was like in the studio making animation stuff, working on like a short film with my college. And one day my roommate was like, "You are coming home early for my birthday, and we are going to watch an entire season of whatever anime I want." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "It's my birthday, and I decide what we do. And I don't care if you have class tomorrow. We're going to stay up till 4, 5, whatever. We're finishing an anime." And I'm like, "Okay." So I came home after work, and we stayed up till 4. And we couldn't finish the anime because we were too emotionally distraught. But that was Attack on Titan. Yeah.
Damn, so that's pretty recent.
Yeah, I have a recent affinity and relationship with anime. Yeah, within the last 5, 6 years. I don't know math, but it's been recent, and I've been loving it more and more since. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
go backwards. You'll find a lot of stuff that'll blow your mind even more.
I'm sure. And I'm reading some comments on Facebook. Adriana Gonzalez says, "You guys are making me feel old. My first anime was reruns of Astro Boy in the 80s.
Oh,
so there you go.
I've actually watched a few of those. It's super cute. Because I saw the movie when I was young. You know, there's like some adaptation somewhere, you know, in movie film history, and I was like in middle school, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. And I remember I watched a little bit of the anime, and it's a super cute one. Don't worry, you're not old. It's okay. Is the message of this
if you would have said Gigantor, or I don't even know what it's called in Japanese, but if you would have said Gigantor, I'd have been like, okay, yeah, that's pretty up there in terms of like anime age.
But yeah, but the old animes like have some sort of charm to them too. You know, it's such a different. It's such a different animation style.
Yeah. Hence why I have this right here. I'm like in love with the whole Sailor Moon aesthetic. You know, whether or not I watch it anymore, like it's still something that is just like imprinted on my mind, and like, you know, just a nice little rose-colored almost way of seeing the world, if that makes sense at all. There are some people in the comments too who are talking about like their origin, their backstory with anime. One of them was like Sailor Moon, that's Misty Milena. John Galgano was talking about how he has watched a lot of Voltron as a kid. So we have just like answers all over the place, you know, hitting all the board. It's just like everywhere in culture. Or now
you should ask if any of them watched Ultraman, because that is our giveaway for today.
That is a good point.
That's true.
Yeah, for anyone who's just now joining, this is just our nerd alert. We're just gushing about anime, just talking about it. You know, you let us know in the comments, like, what anime do you like? What are you guys watching right now? What's your favorite? And we are giving away an Ultraman 6-scale figure towards the end of this episode. So
it's the Ultraman from the Netflix series.
Yes, right? From the Netflix original anime, the version 7 6-scale by Bandai. So you might want to stick tight for that.
Yeah, people are definitely excited about it. A lot of people are saying like they're kind of asking whether or not that counts as the original, or if the original or not counts as an anime. They're asking if the original Voltron or not counts as anime. I think all of these count as anime to me.
I feel like Tokusatsu probably it's not anime like, but it is like kind of anime inspired in the fact that it's like very over dramatic, and the stories are, you know, relatable to an extent. And yeah, I would kind of categorize like tokusatsu, to explain, that's like Kamen Rider, Ultraman, anything with like a suit and somebody fighting a giant monster, or, you know, just a lot of like kung fu and shouting attacks and stuff like that. That's tokusatsu. That's what that is basically. So same realm.
Yeah.
Is there an anime where they don't shout attacks?
Slice of life ones. Well, actually, even then. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, that's a good
I
question.
love it, actually. I really love it.
Yeah, that's.
Like,
I mean, there are plenty of anime where people don't shout attacks, but stuff like it's a pretty common thing in like shonen, like Dragon Ball Z and Bleach and Naruto. They say the names of their attacks when they do stuff, or
Yu-Gi-Oh, same idea.
And I feel like shonen's the one that actually like made that more popular too, you know. And like that's also like that's just kind of the fun in anime too. Like you get to do that, like you get to be that dramatic, you know, and have that drama. And like there are some times where like the drama and the storytelling, like I don't necessarily vibe with it all the time, but then other times I'm just like, this doesn't need to be so dramatic, but I love it, so whatever.
It's interesting too, because even shouting attacks, that's where a lot of the tension can come from too.
Yeah.
Like, even like in something like Bleach, where it's like when somebody says the words Bankai, it's like,
oh,
you know, stuff starting to go down.
You
like,
know what's going on when they say Bankai, dude.
Yeah. And it's like the people who don't watch the show, they're like, okay, it's just a word. What does that mean? But it's like if you watch the show, it's like, no, it ain't just
it's a big deal.
But we have to talk about this. We have to talk about like the words that we've learned and like mean things to us now. I'm gonna ask you what your favorite anime, like, I guess word or sound is, because like some of them aren't quite like full words, you know. I'm not asking you to like start doing voice acting for your anime sounds. I do that all the time. I do it all the time. But like
well, I mean, Sam definitely
here.
Right.
Can anyone do like the ultra villain laugh, the whatever it is?
Oh, the
there we go.
Oh, he's a professional.
No. No, but I will say my favorite thing now, because I have to throw Fist of the North Star in here at some point. It's got to be Omae wa mo shinderu.
So good. I know my friend was telling me when I first started watching Naruto, he was telling me about you know, if you watch the first few seasons of the original, he has his little catchphrase, believe it, and he just says it all the freaking time, and that's just, you know, something about that. And he was telling me that in the Japanese sub version, or just in Japanese dub, it's like he's not really even saying anything, like he's just saying gibberish, like eccentric gibberish. And so I don't have
it's like a tick. It's like
it's like a tick
ka-cha or something.
Yeah, it's almost like a ka-chow in a way. And so like I don't have a noise for that right now, but I think about that all the time.
Stefan, what about you?
So good.
Oh, so I mean, one of the things Sam already hit that one, like Bleach really is my number one, but just, I mean, there's so many, right? I mean, thinking from you know, Ichigo himself, thinking of Getsuga Tensho, or Byakuya with Senbon Zakura, Kageyoshi, you know. So it's one of those things where, you know, to your point, Sam, when you hear those phrases, when you see the stance, there's just so much that tells you that big things are going to happen. And even though you've seen them before, they're different every time, you know. Even 366 episodes later, you still get excited.
Yeah, it's funny too, because some of them even go as far to like define a character. Like I remember for the longest time I couldn't remember Renji's name, but I knew I could remember him by him calling out his attack, because it's like he says it 6 million times.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Isaac Hamak says my favorite anime word is from Dragon Ball. Of course, Kamehameha. And he also wants to know what everyone's favorite character from their favorite anime is. So while you guys are thinking of that, I have to throw in my favorite noise. I just have to. I guess it's a word. I love the facial expression of every anime character when they say like so. Like when something clicks in your head, right. And they're like, so. Like that's just like the prime moment for me because they always simplify the animation. It's like it's one step further than wakata. It's like just right past that, and like the face goes it's perfect.
The eyes go wide and everything.
Yes, yeah, it's just perfect. It's just a perfect moment. So do you guys do you know your favorite character from your favorite anime?
I do. Okay, I've already brought it up a few times, and I think this is how you can tell I'm also a bit of like a surface anime fan. You know, like I don't know all of the deep cuts to anime. Like there's been a few that we've brought up so far that I've been like, yeah, interesting. But honestly, just my OG is Naruto from Naruto. That's just he's my favorite. I don't have to explain it anymore.
You don't need to defend that. That's reasonable.
No, I don't. I have this because this Halloween I was I'll just call it the female Naruto jutsu. And it was super fun to just like almost like cosplay that, and I really thought about cosplaying the character later on, but not like as that specific jutsu, but just like in the future Naruto as a character, because it's just like it's fun. Yeah. What about you guys?
For me, it's gonna be Pris from Bubblegum Crisis, and I know nobody's probably seen that, but she's a badass. She is very serious. She doesn't put up with anybody's BS. If you try to mess with her, she's not afraid to kick you in the face and keep kicking you when you hit the floor. Like she's a punk. She's a badass. I love her.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Stefan.
Jinx.
That's a tough one. I think that oh boy. For me it's a bit of a tie between Ichigo Kurosaki and Hiroyui from Gundam Wing.
Mm-hmm.
I find that there's just some similarities and big differences at the same time. Like with Ichigo, he's very stubborn, very hard-headed, but he's very much of the mentality that the only limitations are the ones that he sets for himself. So I find that to have that continuous theme throughout the entire series is something that you can connect with, and I think it's a mantra that a lot of people wish they had. It's to realize that you're your own worst enemy. You can do anything you put your mind to. You're the only person that can really impede yourself. And then when you look at Hiro, he's just so emotionally disconnected that you can almost tell that it bothers him, So it's like to see a character that battles with trying to properly display emotions and kind of grow into his own, and especially having, spoiler alert, having assumed the identity of somebody else. I think that has a very heavy burden as well. So it's hard for me to choose which one. There's so much depth to both of those characters that I could rewatch them time and time again.
Yeah, my favorite character is probably Saitama, just from One Punch Man. I genuinely believe that he's the perfect Superman, but that is another debate for another time. We actually had a slightly relevant question here. Usually I don't answer these, but Michael Theodoro 18 on Instagram is asking if he can get a free statue, and we are doing a giveaway, aren't we?
So technically you can. We're doing a giveaway here. We're gonna give away something in a few minutes. The Ultraman 6 scale version 7 by Bandai from the Netflix original anime Ultraman. Man, that took a lot. We're also giving away the take it away, guys. What is it? The Dragon Ball name, because I just can't do it.
Super Saiyan
Trunks.
6 scale figure by Bandai.
It's a 6 scale? Oh shit.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I messed it up. This is by 3-0.
Yes.
The Ultraman
yeah.
is by 3-0.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Super
Yes.
Saiyan Trunks is by Bandai. There you
Super
go.
Saiyan Trunks is by Bandai.
I was thinking about that for a moment. I'm like, did Bandai do Ultraman? I'm like, no.
Oh,
Anyway.
Christian Fajardo does know Bubblegum Crisis.
Oh, really?
He's very excited about Bubblegum Crisis.
There's some fans out there. Someone
Good.
official Christopher Abieta on Instagram, I could have butchered that, said his first anime was UFO Ultra Maiden Valkyrie. Does anyone here know about that? I'm curious.
Man, that's actually
Not on my radar.
It's been on my backlog for a while. I've had a lot of people recommend it to me just because I like shows like Dirty Pair and Bubblegum Crisis. So, or not Legend of Lemnir. I don't know. I watch a lot of older stuff, if you can't tell. So,
has anyone seen Project?
I have not.
And I'm gonna mess this up. Project Akko? Project Akko?
Project Akko?
Akko. It's a parody on the anime genre's best parody ever. This is Frederick Lamb on Facebook.
Interesting. No,
Not
I haven't.
with it myself. No.
That actually brings me into my next question, and people in the comments, this is also for you guys, please let me know. So if you had to suggest just one anime to someone who is not familiar with the genre at all, is reluctant towards it, whatever, short or long, doesn't matter, sub or dub, you tell me, but if you had to suggest one, what would it be?
Gunbuster.
Okay. Why?
You get a piece of everything in it. You get you get giant robots, you get space, you get super drama, you get funny little action bits, you get character studies, you get everything. And it's a 6-episode OVA. So it's short, it's condensed. And yeah, you get everything you want out of it. Like, it's really good. It's one of my top 3 for sure. Gunbuster. It's really good.
Gunbuster. Stefan?
I might say Death Note.
That's great.
When I think that, and for my experience with some friends, is some people can't really get into it because of the animation aspect. So I find that it has a much more mature storyline that you can kind of look past that. So I think that if you can at least immerse yourself in it, you get an idea that anime has such a wide range. It can be, comedic to serious to, whatever you want. You just have to look in the right place. So that would be my go-to.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to say Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That'd be my recommendation. I think it doesn't. I don't think it waits around to tell a deep story and an interesting one. But it feels like a fantasy in its world building, and that's really cool.
It's like the most accessible. Because I feel like I know a lot of people that aren't anime fans that they know Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a lot of those too.
I think it's very accessible. I think One Punch Man is more accessible because you don't have to know anything about anime. It's just making fun of everything you think you know about anime.
That's a good point.
And so like,
that's true.
Yeah.
One Punch Man, like I was gonna recommend it, but like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is just, that's the one. That's the one for me.
Nice.
What about you?
I know mine would be Code Geass. Kind of to piggyback on Stefan's earlier answer. It's kind of like it does it has a really interesting, cool storyline, but it also does have like that sense of humor. And it has a storyline like of global crisis that a lot of people are familiar with because it starts with like an alternative ending to World War II. And it brings in all of that aspect, but then it also has the iconic like mecha part that a lot of people see in anime. And it's just super good. And it's super short. It's like 24 episodes. And there's definitely like a point where you get into it where you can't turn back. Like you cannot stop watching until you figure out what's happened at the end. Like, I won't spoil it obviously and say what it is, but man, dude, it was good.
There are a million recommendations coming in on all of our platforms. So,
sweet.
Nice.
So let's talk on Facebook real quick. We have Oh boy, Joe Miller is
like it in terms of like animation and stuff like that. That show like it did some stuff. It was really cool.
Okay. On Instagram, Angry Ant Reviews loves Naruto. John Ciofani. Oh boy, I'm so sorry for all these names.
Kassidy
recommends Dragon Ball Z. JRay044 on Instagram recommends Bo Bo Bo. Yeah.
Yup.
That one.
That show's a trip.
Tetravol recommends Space Adventure Cobra. Big T Toyography recommends Mazinger.
Mazinger, yes.
Mazinger. There's just a million of these. So guys, if you haven't watched anime and you're looking in the comments now, keep looking. There are a lot of good ones.
Yes, there's a lot of suggestions. And with that, we have to start giving away this Ultraman figure. Whether or not you've watched it. It could be yours. All right, so what I'm going to do is I have like a specific magical number in my head, and whoever wins this, it's not based off of your answer, but I do want an answer from you. The question that I'm going to ask real quickly, real important, let me preface this too. So this is a US only giveaway. So you have to be, in the US. It's free shipping though, so that's pretty cool. Another thing with this too is if you are commenting the same thing on one platform, it's going to delete it, but you can do multiple comments. So go for that. And the question that I'm asking is, out of all of the animes that you've watched or that you know of or whatever, what is your favorite rivalry?
Oh,
because we know that Rivalry is like undeniably, a part of anime. Like we cannot avoid that. So let's hear it, guys.
Do you have an answer, Kassidy? Do you have a favorite rivalry?
So
was that a question to us?
It's
or to everyone.
I mean, it's for the giveaway. No, you're not going to win the giveaway.
Oh, okay.
Not people in the audience, maybe you, but I mean, like, yeah, I want to hear your guys' answers too. Mine is right now Bakugo and Deku, because I think a lot of times what ends up happening is when you have the stronger one versus the weaker one, it's like there's this aspect of like, oh, the stronger one doesn't have to work for anything. And like I like that a lot of Bakugo's character development comes from like literally just not knowing how to like express his feelings and like be a good person and like deal with like some emotional trauma that we haven't learned about, but like probably will,
Cool, don't spoil it, please. I'm so excited about it and I just can't.
Was that a spoiler?
No, you're good,
okay.
I think.
Okay, cool.
I think.
I just wanted to make sure.
I hope. Stefan, you look like you had a rivalry right in front of us. What was going on there?
You got a ton.
Oh well, I keep some stuff handy. I got my wait. I got my Goku and Vegeta. They're up there, but
yeah, I was thinking about that
again,
too,
if I go back to Bleach, I was a big fan of the Ichigo and Grimmjow.
Yeah,
that was a good one for me.
I thought you were going to say Liquiora, but Grimmjow is much better. Yeah.
So that's just me.
Sam?
I'm biased. What can I say?
I have no idea.
Dang.
Tetsuo Shima and Kaneda. Yeah.
I don't know where that's from.
That's from Akira.
Okay. All right.
Cool. I was like, enlighten us.
Yeah, it's two friends. Well, Kaneda, like Tetsuo is kind of Kaneda's like one of his little henchmen, and he kind of treats Tetsuo with a little bit of like, oh, you're my friend, but Tetsuo is like, super jealous of him, super envious of him. And then when Tetsuo has the ability to get all this power, Kaneda is the very first person who's like right there to be like, I'm gonna stop you. And Tetsuo's like, yeah, try it. And Tetsuo thinks he's just gonna like squash Kaneda like nothing, but no matter what, he just like he can't really kill him properly. It's not that he doesn't want to kill him; he wants to kill him, but like it just for some reason it just doesn't work. Like nothing he does ends up doing
That
what he
does
wants
sound
it
like
to.
a
And
really cool rivalry.
it's a really it's
yeah.
There's more to it than that. Like I'm softballing it really hard right now, but I don't know. I just like that. I just like their rivalry a lot. Second would have to be Goku and Vegeta, but
yeah.
For sure.
My the biggest rivalry that I have is it's me versus the list of animes I still need to watch. It's a really big list. I don't
Who's
think
winning?
I'm not.
Oh, the anime. He's overpowered.
Over 9,000.
he's still in his training arc.
It's
That's
true.
right.
It's true. I have to do more sprints on a beach first. So do we have
That's
a winner,
great.
perhaps?
We actually, give me one sec.
Sounds like a maybe.
The suspense.
I want to do a drum roll.
All right, we do.
Nani?
On YouTube. On YouTube, we have I might say this wrong. Frieza versus Goku, commented by VC Finder. Again, on YouTube. So congratulations,
Cool.
VC Finder.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah.
A classic wins
there
the
you
classic.
go.
Nice.
Yeah. True.
I dig it.
So congratulations to the winner. To claim your prize, all you have to do is email social@sideshow.com within the next 48 hours, mentioning what you won, where you won it, like what show, what platform, all that stuff, who you are, and we'll get everything sorted out from that. So yeah, sounds good. This was really fun. Do any of you have any
awesome.
last suggestions to our viewers or anything you want to say? I don't know. Read some manga.
Support your local anime convention, because
Nice one.
they will always have old stuff, new stuff, like unpopular stuff, popular stuff. No matter what, you'll find whatever it is you're looking for at an anime convention.
Nice.
You'll find a lot of stuff at an anime convention, but support your local anime convention, I would say, as a suggestion.
Cool. Awesome.
Yes, Stefan.
For
It's okay if you
myself,
have
just
nothing.
don't be afraid to dive into something new. You know, I think just like anything, it might not pan out to be what you want it to be, but you know, there's so much out there that you'll eventually find something interesting. And
Yeah.
There's so much out there.
There
like,
really
even
is.
listening to us, we listed like how many, like over 200 different titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're
that's just
not
between
done.
the four of us. Yeah.
I wish we can go on for another hour. I'm not even gonna lie. I would love to.
Seriously.
Yeah. Andrew, do you have anything?
Oh, Stefan took the words right out of my mouth.
All right, cool. Well, that's it then. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. You were all such a great audience. We'll see you again tomorrow at 12 p.m. for Hall of Frame. We're giving away a free, super exclusive print proof of Batgirl number 32 by Derek Chu. But yeah, thank you again. You've been an awesome audience. Go watch some anime. Go read some manga.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And don't forget to let your geek side show and your stay inside show.
Nice. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh man, there are so many.
Banter.
There's so many animes to watch.
Banter.
Oh my goodness.